Okay, so let's have a look at this strange thing, the Weiser Tarot. I'll come straight out and say that I think it's a frightful mess. And I'm very puzzled by it because I don't really know why it would be such a mess. The box is okay, whatever. The booklet is well written and it's sane, and it's, the comments about the history of tarot are quite accurate, and so you think, whoopee, this is a sane production. Oh, by the way, the first thing one notices is that the cardstock is not good. In fact, it's a major production problem, I would say. You can see these cards are thick, but they're warped, they're bowed, they come out of the box, quite severely warped. Look how pretty it is on the other side. But, who wants warped cards? You want flat tarot cards. I would say that has to be sorted out. Otherwise, that's a reason for not buying this deck. I've sorted out this deck roughly. So it's got majors, aces, courts, and pips. Now, that to me looks like an accident. That to me looks like someone threw up in a tarot factory. How did that happen, and how did that get released? So there is an aesthetic in this deck, which is reasonably well-coloured figures in reasonably interesting and lively colours, with quite a lot of purple and yellow. But the large areas, which, as we know when we recolour our tarot cards, the areas that take time, are done in a blotchy style, as you can see. And I think that's basically inappropriate to Pamela Smith's designs. And you see some of these are quite vivid, aren't they? But I think these blotchy skies make the whole thing look very uncomfortable. I understand that, we're going into the age of AI, and these may be the last days of hand-coloured or even hand-drawn pictures. And so, this thing proclaims itself as done by human hand. It has maximum, all the charm of human fallibility, doesn't it? These majors are okay. They're very dark, though. I mean, the setting is very towards darkness. That's an extremely dark moon. I quite like that. I quite like those robes there. But as I say, I think the tower looks like a frightful accident. And as we go on with the deck, I quite like that. I quite like the way that the yellow is popping out from a purple sky. And I quite like the richness of the red there. But as we go on through the deck, I'd like to have a naughty boys corner for the really bad cards. As we go through the deck, I mean, I tire of this blotchiness. Look, there we are, the human imperfection of going over the frame. Which, if I'd done it myself at home, I would be proud of. But I don't think I would have done it so dark. And, I wouldn't be charging money for this if I'd done it at home. Some of the faces have been given darker skins, and it's okay, ladies and gentlemen. Those who have been given darker skins have been slightly redrawn, so they look like, people of colour. It's not just a black wash. I think that's a terrible recolouring. What happened to all the butterflies on the throne? I think on the whole the court cards are pretty bad, because there's Pamela's court cards are maybe the best bit of the deck, and they've got a lot of detail. They're very lovingly done, but you lose a lot of detail in these, I think. What happened to the pebbles on the beach? What happened to that beach? Why is it so dark? That's quite nice. What happened to the jagged skies? They've all been coloured over in blotchy purple. There are a couple of court cards I like, and what happened to him? I mean, he has just disappeared in a sort of a sea of green. What happened to his grapes? Purple and yellow again. I mean, purple and yellow is the theme of this deck. I feel I can hardly see the guy's body there. Okay, there's one court card I quite like. Why is that so dark, that sky? Oh, which one do I quite like? I quite like that one. You know, when you read with these cards, let's put the King of Pentacles in the naughty pile as especially bad. When you read with these cards, you know, some of them pop, but some of them are just so depressingly dark. I mean, this selection of colours is quite sort of LSD, isn't it, in a funny sort of way, which I approve of. But look at that. What has happened to that guy's face and hair? It's just so rough. What I want to say is it looks like it was done in 10 minutes, which sounds like a facetious remark, but I think that is, in a sense, the aesthetic that they have chosen for this deck, because they're clearly not fools. They're a major publishing house. But I think it's an unfortunate aesthetic to impose on Pamela's cards, and I think so much of it just looks like mud. That's quite good. That pops. That looks like mud. That pops. Awful. That's quite fun. I mean, that's appropriate. You know, she's having a horrible time. We want a dark sky for that. That's a bit dark, isn't it, for a gorgeous memory of childhood? Okay, fine. Good. Well done. Too green. There, a slight improvement on Pamela's original colouring there. Quite nice. Right, okay. Quite nice. Quite nice. The suits are colour-coded, by the way, which if you watch my channel, you probably know I disapprove of colour-coded suits. Quite nice. Bit dull. Bit strange. Bit muddy. Bit blotchy. Awful. Absolutely awful. The bedspread here is a patchwork quilt of roses and astrological signs. And that has a symbolic meaning. It means that, you know, even in your darkest hour, there is love in the world and there is guidance from the heavens. There is guidance from the other dimensions. But not here, ladies and gentlemen. There's just an almost black duvet. There you are. I have to speak out against bad recolouring, ladies and gentlemen. I have to be the person who speaks out. I'm going to put that in the naughty pile. That could be in the naughty pile as well, couldn't it? What a mess. I think that's either frightfully stylish or a mess, depending on your taste. They obviously liked that one because they put it on the box, didn't they? Ho-hum and ho-hum. So just as a hall of shame, the three worst ones in the deck. Sorry about the glaring light. I'm not in my normal bureau today. Just a second. So, yes, or rather no, I don't like it. I was intrigued by it because I thought that some of the cards were really rather interesting in terms of their colour scheme. You know, let's put some nice ones down. That's a nice recolouring. That's a nice recolouring. And that is a lovely bit of recolouring. But I think on the whole the project doesn't work. And, you know, this deck is known for being a deck that offers you some people of colour in the Rider-Waite-Smith. If you want people of colour in the Rider-Waite-Smith, I recommend the melanated classic tarot, which is much better and has its own character and redraws the lines of the RWS a little bit as well. So it's an indie deck, but it's much better than this one. And yes, terrible cardstock. So I hope the manufacturers sort that out before the second edition.